Let's take a couple of minutes and we'll walk through the dimmer and illumination settings on Pioneer's DEH-X5700HD. To start off, the easiest way to operate the dimmer, the quickest way to operate the dimmer, is to press and hold the back button for a couple of seconds. This will activate the dimmer and dramatically drop the brightness of the radio. We can switch the dimmer back off by pressing and holding that same button. And now the dimmer is switched off. So when we switch the dimmer on, and you see the brightness drops off, this may be too dim, and I don't want the dimmer to be that dim. So let's take a look at the dimmer settings. We're going to press in on the volume control, and we're going to roll along until we find the illumination menu. Here it is, illumination. And we want to roll along until we find the brightness settings. Brightness is here. So press in on the volume control, and you can see that while the dimmer is on, remember the dimmer is on right now, the brightness is set to 1. That's its lowest setting. But that's too dim for me. I want to make it a little brighter. So I'm going to bring that up to brightness number 5. And that's what's going to happen with my dimmer. Now I'm going to press the band button to escape, and we'll just test this out. So my dimmer is still on. If I press and hold the back button a couple of seconds, the dimmer switches off, the radio comes up to its full brightness, and I can switch it on again, and the radio will drop down to about half of its brightness, and that works much better for me. You can set that up the best way for you. I'm going to switch my dimmer off again, and we're going to go back into the illumination settings. So we're going to press in on the volume control, and there's illumination, and we are going to start off with our color settings. We'll press in on the volume control. And we have a couple of different ways that we can adjust the color settings. We can adjust the key color, which is the outside area here and here, or we can adjust the display color, which is the area right in here, or we can adjust both colors at the same time. Let's start off with both colors at the same time. We'll press enter, and here you have a number of preset colors that you can choose from, and you can see the display area and the key area are changing at the same time. We'll choose that turquoise color for right now. We'll touch the go back button. This time I want to make an adjustment, a very fine adjustment, to the display area color. So I'm going to press in on the volume control here and press and hold for a moment now. And I'll bring up my Rgb values. Here I see I have a red, a green, and a blue value. And I can add a little more red into the system, into the display area. And I can press the volume control in, and we'll back some of the green color out. And you can see the color starting to change a little. And we'll press in again and get to the blue, and we will back some of that blue color out as well. And you can see the color changing. So you can get a very precise color adjustment here. And once you found a color that you like, you could copy down these colors if you wanted, 25, 31, and 20, and you could copy them over to the key color if that's what you'd like to do. We're going to press the back button to escape, and go back one more time, and go back one more time, and then roll over to the next setting, which is our dimmer settings. If we press in on the volume control, we can have the dimmer sync with illumination. That means that when we turn the vehicle's headlights on, the dimmer can automatically switch on if we want it to. That would be sync with illumination. We can have the dimmer sync with the clock, which means we can automatically have the dimmer turn on and off at certain times. If we press in and on the volume control here, start means at 6 p.m. the dimmer will turn on, but we can adjust that time if we want to. We'll press in on the volume control, and we'll make the start time for the dimmer 7:30 p.m. There we go. Press in again, and the dimmer turns off or stops at 6 a.m. But that's a little too early, so we're going to make that 7:20. There we go, 7:20 a.m. for the dimmer to turn off. When you're done making those adjustments, you can press the back button. We also have one more setting available, which is the manual setting, which is you can press and hold the dimmer button whenever you want. So choose the setting there that makes the most sense for you. We'll press back again and roll along to our brightness setting. And this is the overall brightness of the radio and the brightness of the dimmer setting. Right now, the dimmer is turned off and we have the brightness set at 10. If that's a little too bright for you, you can roll that brightness back, set it wherever you'd like. We'll press the go back button and roll over to our next setting, which is illumination effects. And when you insert a CD, you could see the illumination effects will take place here. If you don't want to see those illumination effects, you can switch them off right here. You'll also see the illumination effects when the full system turns on and off. The illumination effects setting here does not change that. We'll switch that back on for right now and roll back around to our beginning setting, which is the color. At any time, you can escape this menu by pressing the band button.